It's officially football talking season, so let's talk on this here talk show that we have here on Palmetto Sports Daily. I'm Ella, joining you here in Greenville. We've got Rick, Jill, and Bronwyn all across South Carolina. And yesterday, the long-awaited ACC Media Days was on day 2, and day 2 meant we got to talk to the Clemson Tigers. Now, me, Caroline, Carmine, we were all out there. We were talking to all three of the guys that they brought out. They had Sammy Brown, Will Helton, Olsen, Pat Henry, and then, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Dabo Swinney was there in his 18th season with the Tigers after one of the most historically bad seasons that the Tigers had in program history. Now, our sports director, Carmine Jamay, got the chance to speak one-on-one with him about this next season and answer maybe a lot of your pressing questions. Here's what he had to say.
Here with the two-time national champ, 9-time conference champ, and the most wins in ACC history. Coach, sometimes you got to remind people because of all your success. But last year we were sitting here, top 5 team in the country. This year more of an underdog role, not as high of expectations. What have you embraced about surprising people, not yourself, but some outside expectations and exceeding those this year?
Yeah, I mean, we earn that. I mean, you get what you earn. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's you just said it. I mean, if it was about what people predicted and what they said, we'd have won the national championship last year and won this league. But, you know, we got what we earned. So same thing. It's not about what people predict or say either. If they say you stink, it's about what you do. And so we're just focused on doing.
And one guy who's not here, first time without bringing a quarterback since 2019. You've said Christopher Vazina, your QB1, but Tate Reynolds giving him a good challenge. What have you enjoyed most about that quarterback battle and how it's inspired the team to compete as well?
Well, you know, I mean, obviously we finished the spring. Tate was in a 4-person battle to figure out who was going to be 2. And so the last week of spring, he kind of separated there. And so we came out of spring with 2 clear-cut guys. And so, man, those guys are amazing. They're both great leaders. CV's been awesome. He really has. It's been fun to watch him kind of find his voice in this role that he's worked his way into. But it's also been fun to watch this kid Tate say, all right, I've won that battle. Now let me set my sights and let me go see either beat him out or make him better. One of the two. So it's going to be fun to watch.
And I know you guys have a history with LSU, of course, last year, but also Lane Kiffin, you guys going up against each other when he was offensive coordinator at Alabama, now head coach at LSU. What's your relationship like with him, and what do you think about his coaching style and the career he's had as well?
I mean, his career speaks for itself. I mean, you know, you don't get the type of jobs that he's had by being a bad coach. I mean, he's obviously, he probably could have had any job out there. You know, he had a bunch of people trying to hire him, so that speaks for itself. We've texted, you know, from time to time over the years, but Lane's done an awesome job, and look forward to competing with him. It'll be an unbelievable night, you know, in the valley there in Baton Rouge. I mean, don't get any bigger than that. Game day, all that stuff. 7:30, so should be a heck of a game.
And last one for you, Coach. You gave me a big challenge last year when we were teaming up for the first year of the Coach Cast, breaking down the game tape, Monday night being Clemson night for Clemson All Access. You said, show up ready and bring it.
Everybody's going to expect you to bring the juice, man. Like, show up ready and bring it.
Oh, okay.
That's what everybody's going to expect.
I'll be ready, Coach. I feel like Cade Klubnik getting ready to head out there in the huddle.
It's going to be awesome, man.
What's your best way to coach me up now for year 2 of us being together? The honor of my career, really, so far, to break down that tape with you after every game.
Yeah, let's have more wins. All right,
okay.
Let's break down more wins.
Okay.
That's the main thing. So, you know, hopefully, I'm looking forward to having a lot more fun post games with you than what we had last year. That's for sure. But just same thing. Just show up, be ready. All right, be ready to roll, and let's see if we can get back in the mix in 26.
That sounds great, and love that you ended it with a rhyme, Coach. Thanks for the time.
There you go.
All right. For Dabo Swinney, I'm Carmine Jamay for Palmetto Sports.
Well, they were certainly busting a rhyme there. That was really fun to watch that interview and just get a lot of answers to some questions that we have. So just kind of want to toss it around to you guys about this quarterback battle specifically. We're looking at two very, very different players. First off, I mean, we got to look at Christopher Vezina when he had his first start against SMU when Cade Klubnik got injured. He threw for 317 yards and 3 touchdowns. It wasn't a bad showing by any means. He definitely, in my opinion, looked a little shaky, but that is to be expected when you have your first start. But then Tate Reynolds, the freshman, he's a dual threat. He plays shortstop and outfield for baseball. If you look at those videos that we were seeing of him, that guy's got some arms on him. He's a big, big dude. So two very different athletes that bring very different things to the table. Now, I kind of just want to go around the horn. What do we think about this call of Christopher Vezina being the probable QB1? Rick?
Well, first of all, my takeaway from Carmine's interview with Dabo, I think Dabo is setting Carmine up to be the scapegoat. He said, hey, I hope you can deliver more wins. So if things don't go well, I think we'll see Carmine booted out there. So, Ella, you better get ready. I think you may have to come off the bench and take over for Carmine. Anyway, the Clemson quarterback situation. Of course, you got Vezina, who has the experience. He looked good in that one start, but it's a lot different pressure when you go into the season and you're that number one guy and you don't have that depth of experience. So if he gets off to a shaky start in the first 2 or 3 games, and I must say, I am impressed with Tate. Not only his ability to throw the football, but just looking at his rushing numbers that he had in high school. And again, like I said yesterday, the most popular guy on the team is going to be the backup quarterback. And you heard Dabo say Tate's job is to either take over for Vezina or make him better. So that young man is going to come out and give it his best in every practice because you know he wants to be the guy.
I mentioned this a little bit last time when we were talking, that amount of depth that QB room has. It makes you don't want to get comfortable because you know your position is always up for grabs. You're not guaranteed to be the starter. And I think that healthy competition is only going to make Vezina better, and it's just going to come out is he going to deliver or is he not? And then we'll see what happens from there. But I think he has a very, very good shot to lead this team throughout the season, and we'll just see if those numbers deliver. We saw it a little bit last year, but obviously that one game and a little glimpse isn't an entire season coming out from the jump. Brahman, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think when we're talking about a new quarterback, I always go back to the saying you either win with a quarterback, in spite of a quarterback, or because of a quarterback. When you're talking about the two guys who Chris Vezina doesn't have that much experience, and neither does Tate, you're really kind of in that space of we don't know. We don't know what the production's going to be like. And Dabo even talked about it, I think it was yesterday, where he was saying, you know, he was kind of being pushed to go to the portal and try to find an elite quarterback, a guy with experience to carry their team this season. And he said, I'm going to be raked over the coals if they don't produce. And they have such a talented receiver core that you're hoping, and I know Dabo's hope, and he is a good developmental coach. Clemson obviously is a good developmental program for players of all caliber, but I think when you're looking at this, when you're looking at so many things have to go right for Clemson this year, one of those has to be quarterback, or like Dabo said, he's going to get raked over the coals for not making that choice to go into the portal like a lot of other programs around the country did to get their starting guy who has that experience. And yes, one showing that was fabulous is great, but like Rick said, whenever we're talking about a whole season long of ACC play, a lot of tough opponents, I think obviously time is going to tell. But I don't know. I'm interested to see how this goes. I always love when there's a new quarterback, Ella.
Yeah, right. Who doesn't? Especially coming off of the season that they did last year. Everyone's looking for that spark, that feeling like something is going to change. They obviously finished the season last year 7-6. It was the worst record that Clemson has had in over a decade. Very uncharacteristic and very abnormal given the roster that they had. They went into the season ranked number 5, I believe, overall and probable to win the NCAA championship. Things were looking great. Things did not go great. So what went wrong? Dabo said yesterday, he said, we stunk straight up. That's what he said. So here's what he kind of went on to say about last season and how that's going to actually motivate them going forward. I actually lied to you. Producer Nick says, we're not going to show you what he had to say. You have to look on our website to see it later if you want to see that. We're going to take a break here on Palmetto Sports Daily.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We talked a little bit about Clemson and their appearance at the ACC football kickoff in Charlotte. Well, SEC Media Days in Tampa, Florida for the first time. They will get started on Monday. The Gamecocks will make their appearance on Tuesday. They're getting ready for year 6 under head coach Shane Beamer. And I thought we could talk about what are going to be some of the main storylines for the Gamecocks in Tampa. And I believe a big one is going to be the offense. They've got a new offensive coordinator in Kendall Browse, quarterback Lenore Sellers. Last year, at the beginning of the year, he was hyped as a Heisman candidate. And as we know, things did not go well. But in the latter part of the season, the last 3 games, he averaged 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. And he's got to have that type of season. I think if the Gamecocks really want to show vast improvement over their 4-win season in 2025. So for me, you got to get the offense fixed. So I think Dabo and Lenore's and the other 2 Gamecocks that will be there will field a number of questions about the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have a lot of questions about the offense and just this team in general, hence why I'm very excited to be there in Tampa to ask some of those questions, getting to go back to my hometown of Tampa, Florida, and chat it up with some of these SEC guys. Particularly excited to talk to Lane Kiffin the next day, and then the pressing questions that are dying to be asked to Ole Miss head coach about the Luke Farrelly situation when it comes to Clemson and tampering and all of that good stuff in between. So it's going to be a very fun and interesting week ahead. Bronwyn, just what are you kind of looking forward to from hearing at SEC Media Days and from these Gamecocks?
Yeah, I unfortunately, coming from Arkansas, have a pretty good, pretty good repertoire with dealing with teams that need to improve all the time, especially ahead of a season. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I think every part of this team needs to be questioned. I think when you do bring in that offensive coordinator, obviously they're hoping that will be the spark. Kendall Briles coming from, I believe, TCU, but hoping he can do something with the offense and with Lenore Sellers. And why did it all fall apart? And what are your expectations as we head into this new season? And the CBS coaches poll, rather, of the hot seats, okay? Shane Beamer is the only SEC coach. He was at a 4.3 ranking, which means win or be fired. That's the kind of pressure Shane Beamer is going to face next week at SEC Media Days, is how are you going to turn this team around? Because as we all know, in the landscape of college football, you don't get a whole lot of chances. 6 years is a long time, and when you had the season that you had last season, we have to see improvement, and pretty quickly this season.
I completely agree with you, Bronwyn. It's not even just you don't get a lot of time. You don't get a lot of games within one season as well. And just seeing how the Gamecocks are going to turn things around. I also have a major question just for the SEC in general, right? Like, how are they shaping up in comparison to, what's been a pretty good couple of years for the Big Ten Conference? They say the SEC is the football conference. So let's see how they shape up and kind of not turn things around, but we'll see how they kind of compare to the Big Ten this year. That's what I'm most excited about, especially Indiana coming off of that national championship win. And then years prior, Ohio State, Michigan, just seeing how the SEC can kind of really come up to this football season as a whole. And then we'll see how the Gamecocks come into the mix of that and just turning around their offense and producing more than they did last season.
Yeah, well, the SEC, it's just going to be a grind, especially now they move up from 8 conference games to 9, so you throw Clemson in there. Yeah, that's 10 games for the Gamecocks against Power 4 teams. And also, Shane may be remembered about a quote he had after the Clemson game where he said there was no doubt in his mind that this time next year we will be talking about and getting ready for the playoff. So, yeah, I hope those words don't come back to haunt him. All right, I believe that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Right, Producer Nick? All right, well, we're going to take a time out, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. Coastal Carolina just returned from their Sun Belt Conference Media Days yesterday, and I had the chance to talk with head coach Ryan Beard after his first Sun Belt Conference Media Days as he took over the program back in December. He's coming now in with over 50 newcomers, around 30 or so transfers, and then you have those high school and JUCO commits. I had the chance to sit down with him because we will be doing a Coastal Carolina season preview. I will get you guys that date once we know. It will be late in August, but Beard really excited about this team overall. He talked a lot about the defense, mentioned that last year they were in a 3-down front, saying that he thinks that allows a little bit of an issue to come in when stopping the run, and you need to stop the run to win games. In going forward in the future, his main focus is just making sure that Teal Nation can produce a team that Teal Nation can really rally behind and be excited about, because when it comes down to the fans, it only makes this team better. Here's what Coach Beard had to say, what he wants this team to look like by the end of the season.
But I want people to sit there when they go home for Christmas break or whenever that is and go, did you see the Chants play this season? That is a football team that you need to get behind, that you need to follow. And again, wins, losses, who knows? But I do think if we put our best foot forward each and every week, we're going to have a lot of success.
Wins, losses, who knows? This is a completely different new team. They went 6-7 last year, but once again, that was last year, and this is this year. They're now counting down the days to their first game when they hit the road against West Virginia on September 5th before they head back for Fordham for their home opener. And this team is really starting to shape up. The QB1 question is still a big question with that QB room full of 4 different QBs with a lot of different depth. And we'll see if it will be the JUCO transfer or the true freshman, Osiah Lopez. But overall, this team has a lot to be excited about. And Bronwyn, I'm curious your thoughts with hearing Coach Beard, what kind of energy he's bringing to this program within his year one.
Yeah, that's a great line. You want somebody to go home for Christmas break and talk about this is the team you need to watch. Have you watched them? I think it's really interesting. Anytime you have a new coach, you're really shaking everything up from your offensive scheme, defensive scheme. You're talking about culture shifting and what guys he's going to bring in are going to be completely different than the previous season. It seems like every football program in the state of South Carolina right now is in that transition period. And so I think it's going to be really fun to follow Coastal and Clemson and South Carolina. I think you could follow all 3 of them, not just Coastal. And write home maybe about it for Christmas break. But they were picked, Jill, I believe it was 5th in the Sun Belt Conference to finish in the coaches poll. And I think that's to be expected. Like I said, it's a brand new team. You're bringing in all new guys. You're teaching all new concepts, all new schemes, probably from the ground up a lot of times. And a lot of times coaches are using different terminology and things like that really they have to bring the kids up to speed on. So I think it's going to be really fun to follow this team, and I think Ryan Beard brings a lot of young energy that I think a lot of Coastal fans can be excited about.
Yeah, he is for sure a younger coach in comparison to some of these other coaches around college football. But you are correct with that 5th ranking within the Sun Belt. But I think they're going to use that as a little bit of a fuel for fire there, being underdogs to prove people wrong. You can always keep that on like a chip on your shoulder saying, hey, they said this about us. We're going to go out there and prove them wrong. But once again, this is an entirely different team. It's kind of hard to see or think or make predictions on who you think is going to be that starting quarterback because it's just a bunch of question marks right now. So it's going to be really exciting once we hit the start of this season and that first game, but especially headed into fall camp. We're going to take a quick break here for Palmetto Sports Daily.
Well, the weekend is finally here. 104 matches later. It is the World Cup final, and it's come down to two teams, Spain and Argentina. We were talking about it in the break. Producer Nick is going to North Carolina to take bets on this game. We were coaching him through what we think might be the best way to go. Me personally, as someone who lived in Spain for a year, I'm taking Spain, but that's also for a reason as well. I think that they have the better, more well-rounded team. It's been absolutely incredible to watch Lionel Messi play in this World Cup, as it may be his last at 39 years old. I'd love to see him find the back of the net one more time, like he's done such an incredible job of doing in this World Cup, and make his run for the Golden Boot. But guys, what do you think? You taking Spain? You taking Argentina? Jill, I'll start with you.
I'm going Spain as well, personally. I just think it would be nice for them to get another cup after their first one coming back in 2010. So it would be nice for them to get number two. I don't really love back-to-backs. That's just me personally. But also, once again, it would be Messi's potentially last cup. I don't see him going for another one, but what I do expect is a very, very exciting match. I think it's going to go into penalty kicks. It's something that we were potentially discussing that might happen, but Bronwyn, what are your thoughts? Who are you taking?
I can never vote against a GOAT. I have to go with my heart on this one. Lionel Messi is the GOAT. It's like betting against Tom Brady and the Patriots. It's like betting against Nick Saban and Bama. I never do it. It's just part of who I am as a sports fan. I can't do it. They will always find a way. There's a reason they're nicknamed the GOAT. That's why Messi is the GOAT. He's always going to find a way to put the team on his back and to carry. I mean, guys, I can't do it. There's nothing in me. I have to go for it. I have to go with Messi.
Well, if he pulled it off, it would definitely add to his GOAT resume. Only two teams have ever won back-to-back, and it's been almost 70 years since someone has done it. So it would be pretty incredible to watch. Nonetheless, whoever takes it home, what a World Cup it has been. But that's going to do it for Palmetto Sports Daily. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.